Good afternoon, everyone. I am so pleased to be here today for this momentous occasion to change how the City of Los Angeles undertakes its affordable housing and supportive housing development process. My name is Dora Leon Gallo, and I'm the President and CEO of A Community of Friends. We're a nonprofit organization that's existed in the City of Los Angeles for over 34 years with a very specific mission of ending homelessness for people with mental illness. Our housing model is one of supportive housing, a permanent home connected to services where people can stabilize their lives and begin to live productively. There's a reason we are here today at Lorena Plaza to discuss expediting of affordable housing developments. Lorena Plaza is a partnership with Metro that began 14 years ago. It is consisting of 49 apartments, 36 of whom will serve people who've experienced homelessness, their families, as well as veterans. And it will include 7,500 square feet of commercial space here for the community. I'm not going to get into all the details, the 14 years of details that led to the delay, but a large part of it was due to processes that make affordable housing difficult, including ability to have environmental litigation. And after we secured our funding, we began the laborious process of securing building permits and all the clearances that are needed to start construction. It was one hurdle after another. Hearings take more than 3 months. Over 30 clearances, some take as long as 3 weeks, involving multiple city departments. This experience amongst affordable housing developers is not unique, but it is so unnecessary. If we all work together the way our new mayor, Mayor Bass, has envisioned, we know we can make this work, and we know we will shave time and cost to the development of affordable and supportive housing. This executive order that you're going to hear about today, with one pen stroke, will eliminate much, if not all, of what stopped us from providing affordable homes to people faster. It is too late for Lorena Plaza now, although we are in construction. But with this executive order, Mayor Bass will help dozens of other developments in the pipeline that desperately need to open their doors to people experiencing homelessness. Mayor Bass asked many of us in the field what the bureaucratic hurdles are, and many of us shared their stories. You have representatives from the LA Business Council, from the Southern California Association of Nonprofit Housing, and also individuals like Debbie and Alfred Frejijo and a few others who provided their input. And in just her first week in office, she's here today to begin the process of eliminating those hurdles. At A Community of Friends, our mission is very clear: to house people who've been homeless on the streets for a very long time. We help people struggling with mental illness. And 14 years is frankly too long. So I'm thrilled to be here today to introduce you to our new mayor, Mayor Karen Bass, who's been willing to take the steps necessary to cut this red tape and inspiring hope in all of us that we will see a solution to homelessness. Mayor Bass?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. And as Dora said, today is day 5. Day 5, this has been a very eventful week. And as she mentioned, these are discussions that have been going on for quite a while. And I'm so glad that we can stand here today and say now we have moved into action. But I want to thank Dora and your team at the Community of Friends for your dedication to providing homes to bring Angelenos and veterans indoors. This project, as was mentioned, took 16 years to break ground, and that's something that we are here today to fix. I want to thank Supervisor Solis for joining me here today and for her partnership, but also because of the incredible work she has already done, along with my former colleague in the state legislature, Kevin Murray, have already housed hundreds of folks in the developments that they have built. I want to thank Metro CEO Stephanie Wiggins as well. The MTA is a key partner to a comprehensive citywide approach to homelessness, and I know that you both agree with me that we must move our city in a new direction on housing and homelessness. The project that will rise on this site will provide 49 affordable housing units, half of them for veterans, 32 of them to bring homeless Angelenos inside, and I'm going to keep saying this, it took 16 years to break ground. Today we are taking action to bring a new direction to City Hall and to Los Angeles's approach to homelessness. As mayor, I will just not accept any delays of any kind when it comes to the homelessness emergency. That's why we declared a state of emergency in the city of Los Angeles on Monday with an executive directive that eliminates delays, cuts costs, and sets urgent timelines to get affordable housing built. Everyone knows that time is money, and I will tell you, over the last year, I can't recount the number of times I have talked to people who try to build affordable housing, and they talk about the reason why it costs so much is because of the length of time it takes. Well, key to reducing that length of time is cutting red tape and speeding the construction timeline that will save precious dollars that can then be invested in more housing and more solutions for our homelessness crisis. Here is the change that starts today. If you build affordable housing under my executive directive, the city will complete the approval process within 60 days. Then, when construction, thank you. Then, when construction starts, the permit, utility, and certificate of occupancy process will be completed in just 5 days. That's 5 days for 100% affordable housing projects and in no more than 2 days for temporary housing. That is the urgency we need at City Hall, and that is what we are delivering. How on earth could we expect to house 40,000 people if we continued business as usual? Before my directive, affordable housing projects of a certain size, even if they would be approved in the end, would first be put through a maze of additional city steps. More paperwork, more hearing, more delays, more costs, and to avoid that, projects are being built with fewer units than they could be. Developers are just saying, I'll reduce the number of units so that we can build faster, but we need the exact opposite built. Moreover, to avoid needless, costly, and time-consuming red tape, affordable housing projects are only being built in certain locations and not others. And this is at a time when we need housing all across Los Angeles. I talked about this on Sunday. The neighborhoods where housing is being built are already neighborhoods that are severely overcrowded. That's why all Angelenos have to have skin in the game. With more than 40,000 Angelenos unhoused, we need more affordable housing, not less. With some of the highest rents and mortgages in the nation, we need more affordable housing, not less. We need more, we need it faster, and that's what my executive director will bring. By declaring a state of emergency, by activating the city's Emergency Operations Center, by signing this executive directive today, we are breaking City Hall away from its traditional approach that is focused on process and replacing it with a new approach that is focused on solutions, results, and speed. Thank you very much. And let me introduce my colleague and friend for many, many years, Supervisor Hilda Solis.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon to everyone. It's such a refreshing day for us and for many who have been here on this location waiting for me at least 8 years of those 16 years. So believe me, I am happy, and I'm happy our CEO is here also, Stephanie Wiggins, and Dora Gallo, a community of friends who's just been so tremendous in helping us build out so much necessary housing along transit lines. That's what it's about. And to Mayor Bass, you chose a perfect location to sign your first executive directive. And I was just here less than a month ago celebrating the groundbreaking of this project. And during that event, we celebrated a huge milestone for the project, but we also reflected on how difficult it was that you just outlined. Back in 2013, Metro entered into an exclusive negotiation agreement with a community of friends to transform the site into 49 units of affordable housing. But despite support from Metro and many community members, this Metro-owned site sat vacant for years because someone decided to stand in the way. I won't name that person. I don't think I have to. The barriers that were put up means that it took more than a decade to bring this project to fruition. That should not happen. Absolutely not. And it was only through persistence and commitment of the developer and Metro, Stephanie Wiggins, and others, that we were able to bring this project to fruition. So I thank Stephanie, I thank Dora, the entire community of friends, and I also want to thank our community for being so persistent here in Boyle Heights, because they know what is needed here, and they offered up their support early on. The challenges we saw here at Lorena Plaza offer a clear example of what happens when politics and bureaucracy get in the way of solving our problems. And those challenges are what your executive director, Mayor Bass, will help us cut through. You and I will, and our members of our colleagues on the Board of Supervisors, share that commitment in shattering the bureaucratic barriers that prevent us from addressing our housing and homeless crisis. Just last year at the county, I led an effort to break down those barriers within our own bureaucracy with the first completion of our Care First Village in Chinatown. And I want to thank former Senator Kevin Murray for being the stakeholder with us there to provide wraparound services at the facility. This project now houses 232 individuals in units of interim housing, and it got online in 6 months. So, Mayor, you're breaking our barriers. So I mean, now we're going to have to follow suit in some way. We did ours in 6 months, but we need to move together like a train. We're on the same tracks. And quite frankly, I can only see better things happening. And I'm happy to serve as a Metro board member, because we are working in concert, and we know that everything we do is going to be so impactful and help so many people. There are many 10 joint development projects that are in my district alone that are going to be coming online. And 100% of those will be affordable units right here in Boyle Heights area. And we're working hard with CEO to help create 10,000 units of housing over the next 10 years. I may not be here, but I know we'll see it, right? We'll see it through. The other thing is the LA County's Development Authority, also known as LACTA, also is issuing affordable housing funds across the entire county, so working in tandem with them. We're all working together because we had the affordability of having measures HHS pass. Measure ULA, Mayor, congrats to all residents of LA City. And because we're going to seek more funding for Project Home Key. We can't underestimate the importance of the action that you're taking today. And it takes a strong person like yourself, a strong woman who's determined, who's confident, and is shining a light on all these challenges and issues that we have had for decades. Thank you so much for being with us, and I'm proud to stand with you como una amiga. Just brevemente en español, buenas tardes a la alcaldesa Bass. Muchas gracias por invitarme aquí hoy día. Este es el lugar perfecto para firmar su primera directiva ejecutiva. Estuve aquí como unas semanas pasadas para celebrar esta inauguración de este proyecto de 49 viviendas. Durante este evento celebramos un gran éxito para el proyecto, pero también reflexionamos sobre el difícil momento que tuvo para tener este proyecto hoy día. Ustedes y yo tenemos un compromiso compartido de romper las barreras que nos impiden abordar la crisis de vivienda. En el año pasado puse mi esfuerzo también en el condado para acabar con barreras dentro de nuestra propiedad también. El proyecto Care First Village puso una línea 232 unidades de vivienda provisionales en solo 6 meses. Ahorita estoy diciendo que nosotros vamos a trabajar por parte del condado con usted, la alcaldesa de Los Ángeles, y vamos a hacer todo lo posible para ayudar a nuestros residentes que hoy día esperan a tener una vivienda, y especialmente para los que están sufriendo y que no tenían la oportunidad a tener un hogar durante la pandemia. Muchas gracias y saludos a la alcaldesa Bass para su liderazgo. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to have our CEO from the LA Metro, Stephanie Wiggins.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Bass, for inviting me here to speak today. And thank you, Supervisor Solis, who, as you know, is a Metro Board Director, but she's been a visionary as it relates to our joint development program and affordable housing. The reason Metro is involved in affordable housing is because transportation and housing are inexorably linked. And when we talk about equity and social mobility, there is no better partnership than transportation and housing and land use and the importance of that. To be here in Boyle Heights with our partner, a community of friends, and Dora, I want to thank you for your perseverance and patience as we went through this prolonged period. I want to briefly say that the mayor's action today, this executive directive, is a clear example of what we mean by a whole of government approach to addressing this crisis. This is what has been needed. It's been great to witness in just 5 quick days, 5 quick days, the message of urgency meets the action of urgency. And the mayor needs to know, with leadership on our board, like Supervisor Solis, the entire board, and all of the 11,000 employees at Metro, we are committed to be a partner in accelerating affordable housing. In fact, we have over 1,000 units as part of our joint development program for the city of LA for affordable housing, and we have even more, as Supervisor Solis mentioned. I want to also highlight the importance of having skin in the game, our joint development program, and working with the city. This is a tool to address homelessness. The mayor talked about the importance of streamlining and cutting through bureaucracy. That is music to our ears, right? But I also want to say respectfully, from the mayor's first meeting less than 5 days ago, not only did she lift up the importance of the urgency of the issue and this crisis, but we're not only saving time with her executive directive, we're saving lives. She lifted up that almost on average 5 Angelenos a day lose their life on the street. And some of them, unfortunately, are found on the Metro system. And today, that begins to end. So thank you, Mayor Bass. Thank you, Supervisor Solis.
Thank you very much. So I am going to now sign the executive directive. So today, with this executive directive, we accelerate and lower the cost of affordable and temporary housing to bring people inside and keep people in their homes. It is now time to get to work. Executive Director. Thank you. And before we open it up for questions, let me just introduce some of the people that are here with us today. First of all, Mercedes Marquez, who is the Chief of Homelessness and Housing Solutions for the Mayor's Office. Amy Perkins, longtime advocate. Dora Gallo, who you met earlier. Kevin Murray, who I knew as a state senator, but who is now the CEO of the Weingart Center. Alfred Ferrejo, land use advocate. Deborah LaFranc, SDS Capital. Eric Nakano, Little Tokyo Service Center. Stephanie Graves, board of the Central City Association. We have our partners from labor, IBEW members, Local 11. Monica Mejia, East LA Community Corporation. And Ariana Bankler from Scanth. So thank you very much for all that you do on behalf of our community. And we are ready to get to work. And what you will see as we move forward, day in and day out, you will see city leaders coming together in different levels of government, because at the end of the day, we need to have every level of government in alignment along with the private sector. We have to get this job done, which is why we called a state of emergency on Monday, and more to come next week. Thank you very much. We can take a few questions. Yes.
Question, granted you're removing a lot of the red tape in the process, how do you address the NIMBYism that may butt up against what you're trying to get done?
Well, first of all, what's right at hand are all of the projects that are in the works right now. And this executive director, we have a list of over 24 projects that can move quicker. I think the question of building housing throughout the city is a bigger question that I am hoping is taking place in neighborhoods around the city. And then the very best way to deal, to me, with NIMBYism is for neighbors to get together and decide where they think the housing should be. And I certainly learned over the last year that there were neighborhoods that were adamantly resistant to one thing, but they had other proposals to present. And I think that that's the best way that it should work. Not forcing something on someone, but getting neighborhoods together to say, we don't like this, but this is where we have skin in the game. Because the bottom line is, you cannot build all this housing in South LA, East LA, Pico Union, or the East Valley. Those are areas that already are overcrowded with 2 and 3 families living in housing.
Right. You know, this isn't the first time people in LA have heard that red tape is getting cut, that affordable housing is coming faster. Can you give us any sense of how many units you expect to see because of this by the end of your first 4 years in office?
No, I cannot. For the end of my 4 years in office, what I can tell you is that we have 24 projects that are in the hopper right now, and I can get you later on how many units that would be, but I'm also hoping that it might encourage some of those projects to expand their size. Remember, I mentioned that a lot of developers have been reducing the number of units so that they could skirt the rules. Well, now we want to eliminate that so they don't have to do that. So whatever those 24 projects are building, I'm hoping they actually are larger in scale.
Madam Mayor, so proud of you. Just following you the last couple of days has been, I'm used to being with presidents, but you've outdone them.
Thank you.
I'm wondering how much of this could ruffle effect across to Chicago or New York and some of your colleagues from the Congress. You've done such an awesome job in presenting it, even from Monday morning with your people who gave us clear indication, and the team membership is wonderful. What else do you think the community can do? And are you welcoming outside investors to come in? Is that going to, it seemed like it would bring other investors in?
All of the above to get housing built. But let me just tell you, you mentioned the other mayors. Yes, I did a phone call this week with the 10 largest cities in California. That's a weekly meeting that I was initiated into, which was very exciting. I've also done calls with the largest cities, so New York, Chicago, Houston, and LA. We did a call talking about this. I told the mayor of Houston I want to learn from what he's done. But what's interesting is right after we did the state of emergency, we've had several cities inquire about doing their own state of emergency. I've had cities call from other states to do the state of emergency, and I'm really excited that I know the Board of Supervisors is looking at it as well. And what you're going to see, I believe very much, is that you're going to see unity between the city and the county. That is what we are committed to. I've already met with 3 out of the 5 supervisors since the election was called. I've met with them before over the last year. The city attorney, the city controller, all of us, everybody was at the Emergency Operations Center on Monday when we declared it a state of emergency, and they were there expressing their solidarity and unity. And in spite of what you saw at the city council meeting, what's important is it got done. It got done.
I just
Thank
have
you.
a question maybe it's for Mercedes.
Yeah, Mayor Bass, the city of Lancaster City Council, they basically said that they're declaring a state of emergency against your plan to move the homeless to a village in the Antelope Valley, going off of something you said 8 months ago. Do you have any plans to create what they would call a homeless village in the Antelope Valley or near Lancaster?
I heard about that. We're trying to get housing built in the city of Los Angeles. So I'm not sure what that was. Sounds a little bit like a stunt, but nobody has ever said anything about moving anyone to Lancaster.
And it just want to ask you, this is a huge property. So
Yes, it
people might
is.
look at this and they might look at, say, 49 units. Why not 200 units? What can we do more? I know that you're trying to speed the process up. Is there anything that your administration is doing to increase the size of these projects?
Well, like I mentioned, the 24 that are in the pipeline, I definitely want to go back to those people to say, can it be more? Since we know that people were scaling the projects down because of the red tape, I absolutely want to go back and see if there might be the potential to revisit. Thank you very much.
For maybe for Mercedes, it talks about that basically it's being exempt from the discretionary review process as long as there's not a zoning change, variance, or general plan amendment involved. Why not go further and say even if you need those, we're just going to waive it and push it through?
Because one thing is bureaucracy and red tape, another are legitimate planning concerns and land uses. So our general plan is a law. And so we're not going to be doing that without a review. The important part is that we have flattened the discretion. Agencies have to get through this process, and they're going to have 60 days to get through it, enough time to review every appropriate project. But we're not going to be waiving laws without appropriate review.
Isn't that part of an emergency? Why not? Why not waive laws?
Because we're a city as a whole. And 60 days, these are complex issues. 60 days is an appropriate period of time to deliberate and to speak with the developers about the changes that they need. But it is not appropriate to lift our entire general plan amendment.
Let me just mention one other thing too. Is that right before this press conference, I had a meeting with all of the general managers that are impacted by this, and what we have asked them to do is to identify the barriers, identify the problems that they have had. And I will tell you, one problem that we know is a problem I mentioned a few days ago, and that is the vacancies in the city. And so we do have to make sure that all of the departments have the amount of staff to actually be able to do this. But what I did find from the general managers was enthusiasm, excitement, a willingness to push the envelope, a willingness to do something different. And I think if anything, we know that that is what is needed. That is what is needed in this city at this time. Thank you very much. See you all next week. Much more to come.